Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Music Talks podcast. I'm your host, Bobby Rose. So after about a year of starting this podcast journey, I finally discovered another Malaysian musician, music person that carries out podcast. I mean, you have to understand, you have to watch the first episode of this podcast, or even like me, the host, for you to understand the sentiment of the rareness of finding somebody who does what I do. And I'm so happy to be able to finally sit down and talk to her and possibly get her name right for this one time as I introduce my friend from the other side of Malaysia. So ladies and gentlemen, with me I have today Cherylyn. Hey.
Hey, Robbie. What an introduction.
I know, right?
So random, but I'm like, yeah, true, it's true. Actually, I also have the same sentiments as well. I was like, I was exploring podcasts earlier this year. So I've been, the platform I use is Spotify. Mm-hmm. So I first explored podcasts on music education only, and also music education tech. A few famous people, I cannot recall their name, but I can only recall like Tim Topham, Katie Wardrobe, Midnight Music. Then I started thinking like, got any Malaysian ones or not? Usually I follow the typical like the Ming Ting. I'm not sure if you heard before, the Table Talk or all the local YouTubers.
That's more of an entertainment side, I guess.
Yeah, correct. For entertainment purpose. Then after that, I discovered As Samad. He also has his own Spotify.
Yeah.
I was like, I go and check out. He has a really long one. Then from there, I don't know how I end up finding yours. So actually, after listening to As Samad's podcast and your podcast, I was like, when I listened to your one, I was like, wow, I must start my one also.
Oh, okay. I thought you regretted it, like you were listening to a good quality and then you listen to mine. Like, no.
No. Hey, it's not bad quality. Okay, actually, in fact, the topics you talk about are quite deep because I notice it's very academic, and I think it's from a researcher's point of view. And I don't find a lot of podcasts from that perspective because normally those people are already practitioners. They are already doing it as a business, or they are already teachers, so they're talking about all those things from their perspective. So finding yours, which is like more, I would say, research based in a way, and then I found As Samad's one. He treated his podcast more like a journal, like an audio journal.
Yeah, it's like a vlog in a way, like personal.
Yeah, correct. It's like a vlog, but it's a audio one. It's an audio log.
A-log? Yeah, way. Audio log.
Yeah. A-log, yeah. So mine is like, I'm trying to find a space in that area because I don't exactly want to do audio logs or vlogs. But at the same time, I'm not too deep into the research part because I am more of a application person. Yeah. So that's why a lot of things that I spoke in my very short podcast that I have is more about things that I've already tried or things that I've already done. And I think for the first 5 or 10 episodes of my podcast is a lot about my background, personal experiences in certain things.
Yeah. And I listened to a few of them, and I saw that it's very relatable to a lot of people here. But could you like help us summarize for the listeners back home, for the viewers back home, if you can summarize like your first 10 episodes, like what do you do, where are you based in, what instrument do you play? Because I'm just having like I think I'm writing a song in my head as I'm talking to you right now because of
Okay. So the name of my podcast is Adventures of a Music Educator. It's very long-winded, but the adventures part is true, I feel, because even though I've been teaching for it's been 7, 8, coming to about almost 8 years that I've been teaching. So I like talking about my teaching experiences, and I share a lot with my juniors and even subordinate, because now I have a position in my current workplace, so I also have to train junior teachers as well. So I like the part where I always share things with them because I feel like you guys don't know this, so maybe you should try this out. It might work out in your lessons. So the first 10 episodes of my podcast is a lot about my education background. In that sense, also I talk a little bit about my career, also how I got into teaching. Yeah, and a few snippets of here and there about what I think about certain topics lah, and also maybe some audio tutorials, or maybe I share about certain kinds of lesson ideas. So this background here has transformed a lot in the last 1 year. It wasn't like this.
So for video listeners, for the video audience, you can very clearly see that it's a real background, by the way. It's not a wallpaper, I hope. No, it's not a wallpaper. Okay.
No.
But for the audio listeners, you just have to understand that this is the very basis of work from home for music teachers, for music people generally. So in Cherylyn's background, from her left to right, I mean like my left to right, she has a wardrobe of books, an electronic drum set, a cello. I think behind you there's a guitar.
Yes, there's one
and then
guitar there.
That's an electric keyboard.
Digital piano.
That's a digital piano. Do you have a violin outside and ukuleles outside? A timpani maybe?
There's a ukulele hanging above the piano there.
I knew it. Do you have a timpani and bass drum outside? I'm just curious.
No. But I have a bass guitar hidden towards behind the cupboard. I have a bass amp in front of the E drum actually. So I do have a bass guitar as well. Yeah. That's what I have. Yes.
So is that like a normal everyday scenario with you? Just like you go into your room like, what am I gonna play today? So
I wish it was like that every day. Before this setup, it was more cupboards and there was actually another desk. Where the piano is now, there was a desk that belonged to my sister. But she got married, she moved out, so this is like my crib now. So I've been wanting this music studio thing for a long time because before she moved out, the E drum wasn't here. It was in the bedroom. The piano, yes. A few other things were not in this room. So now I pack everything into this room. Actually, my cello is in the other room because I practice there. It would have been here if there was more space. Yeah. So I didn't grow this list of instruments overnight. It's like accumulation of years. Yeah. And because you work, you save money, so you dream of having certain things, so this is like the dream.
And it's very reminiscent of Jacob Collier's room, or
Yes.
you know those bedroom musicians where you just sit down at the ukulele and then you move to your keyboard and then you're just like recording. But I guess like you said, it really applies to your teaching, and you are a school music teacher as well as a center music teacher, I think.
I don't work for center anymore. I used to before I resume my full-time work. So just for the listeners' information, I am currently working for an international school in the Klang Valley. So this is my third school. Yeah, it's my third school already. Why it sounds like I got back into it because I just completed my master's last year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I worked for 2 schools prior to that, and then I decided like, okay, I need to kind of develop my knowledge or skill or something like that. I need to push myself again because I worked for 5 years in international school prior to that. And then I felt like I reached a plateau already. I don't feel any growth. So I spent the last year, my 5th year in teaching, looking for like foreign courses or masters or something like that. But due to certain personal circumstances, I decided that I will just do my masters locally. So
Mhm.
I did it in University Malaya.
Oh,
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah. So I did completed my masters in 2 years, and then just as I graduated, I managed to find my current job now. So I'm quite lucky and blessed at the same time. Very grateful lah, that I even got this job now.
Exactly.
Seriously.
I was just gonna ask because I feel like it's such a blessing that you graduated and then you got the job and then COVID hit, rather than a lot of things could have happened negatively, and I just
Actually, the COVID hit when I was completing my thesis.
oh
So yeah, I completed my thesis only the middle of last year. So
okay.
so when COVID hit, right, in March last year, I was like in a way halfway doing my thesis or trying to complete it or doing some corrections, and when it happened at that time, I feel quite demotivated for a while because it's like suddenly the whole world just shut down like that,
Yeah.
and then I start to wonder like, what's the meaning of what I'm doing now? I suddenly have a existential crisis.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like suddenly the world just shut down. Everything just went flat, and then um, education system everywhere is like we are like crawling again from I don't know where. We are crawling from some cave, and
Mhm.
then uh, I also was teaching. Okay, so at that time I was still teaching part-time piano. So yeah, we couldn't go to our center and teach. I cannot teach my private students either. So suddenly we had to go and teach online and things like that. So for me it wasn't a very hard transition because I was already quite a tech savvy person.
Mhm.
So when I think of existential crisis, I think of like the whole picture because I'm thinking for my friends as well, my peers. And I also thought like, goodness, not everybody knows what I know. Not everybody have the kind of equipment that I have.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So at that time, I talked to like colleagues, at the center, and I talked to other friends who are also in a way like-minded. So we kind of brainstorm. We discuss a lot, talk a lot, how we are going to do this thing, how we're going to do this virtual thing. And it was interesting because I would say my close friends they're quite open-minded, so they were very open to what I have to suggest, and they also um, you know get information from other places as well. But then there are also people who are not so close to me, but acquaintances, I would say. So they also approached me asking me like, oh, how to do this, how to do that. So I was in a way more than happy to advise. At the same time, it was not just the teaching area because I'm also part of my church worship team where we play music as well. So even that area has problem.
Yep. Yep.
Uh,
I would.
so suddenly, I also felt like I need to help in that area as well. Yeah. So quite a lot of things was going on at that time, and then my thesis was going on at that time. I was like, oh, it's crazy, it's nuts.
Yeah.
It's,
But I'm so happy that you made it out the other side with all your content creation. I mean, we'll get into your podcast and your short videos and all that you're still doing in a moment. It's just that I like how your life story, like with the thesis and everything just like piling up, and you're looking for new work. It sounds like that drop right before the a huge drop in a pop song, and then there's always a glass. So instead of you building up and then you just drop, the best way philosophically, I mean metaphorically, ladies and gentlemen, is to actually stuck up, not what do you call that, fermata, just to have like that short pause, so that when it drops, it's that much bigger. You know what I mean?
explode.
Exactly, because I would
Yeah.
assume that if you just finish the thesis, I mean, you personally you finish your thesis, then you finish, and then you find new work, and then it's you go up, and then you come back down, and it's quite a short dip, you know. But because it was a lot of things, and then everything was just chaotic and chaotic and chaotic, and you had that short pause of like I don't know 3 months, 2 months, 3 months, where you like you say like everybody's like crawling, and that's that suspense moment where everybody's just like what's going to happen next. And that's that's the drop, that's the moment that brought you to what you're doing today. And yeah, for me personally, I feel like it's an amazing thing that happened to you.
Yeah, if you put it that way, yes, it will happen in such a short time, and I just have to play catch up. Like at that moment, I just feel like okay, I need to get this thesis over and done with so that I can start doing these other things so that I can help people. At that time, I was just thinking of helping my friends, helping in whichever area I can. Yeah, that's the thought that came to me lah.
Yeah, and praise be to God for that, because nobody would have said anything if you just like, this is so, like you said, depressing, this is so dark, I'm just not going to do anything. But you're like, no, 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 I have to do something. So which leads you to where you are today. And I'm so happy to see you do what you do on a weekly basis. So what's the difference, if you can give like one or a few like differences between last year and this year? Like, okay, now you're just all online. Malaysia is doing an amazing job on handling the COVID cases. I'll edit this out, don't worry about it. uh so
Uh,
everything's online, there's no more physical work. Yeah, so you're still content creating videos, creating.
I would say I would say that my content creation for public view is not as much as last year because when the pandemic hit us, and then I only was able to relieve of myself of the thesis work around May, June, around that time. So it was only then I started to take my services seriously because I start to see the, I won't say money making lah. I feel like the money making part is a very small part at that time, but at the same time I felt like okay, this is like a very big opportunity for me to get into the Malaysian music education scene in a different way, because my observation at that time was, yeah, everyone is doing things online. Suddenly everyone is offering virtual piano classes, and then all kinds of funny things is happening.
Yeah,
A lot
yeah,
of interesting things. I cannot pinpoint the full list, but a few things that I noticed were like, suddenly people are offering lower piano fees, just because it's virtual. So that became a huge debate in the industry. Okay, lowering or increasing the lesson fees, and then suddenly there are people trying to do video lessons as well, and then people repackaging lessons and all that. But then there's also this huge area, this gap where a lot of teachers do not know how to go about this to start with.
yeah.
So that's where I feel like that's where I come in, because I'm aware that there are a lot of senior music teachers who don't know how to use tech for
Yeah.
lessons, especially piano lessons. That's the most common thing, right? So I felt like, hey, I can help this group of people through some kind of workshop or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Which that's how it started. Like, that's how my whole um, share the music platform started. And in fact, I used another name prior to that. It was called Cherylyn Music. But then
Ah.
a lot of people do that when they brand themselves. Like name music, name music. Then I
Yeah.
felt like I don't stand out. I just feel like I don't stand out because I'm quite a social media person. Then I start to realize that hey, this is so boring. I know a couple of people who do that, name and then music as their brand. So I started to brainstorm how to brand myself better. So I was thinking, okay, how can I put my name and the word music together? Then, earlier you were asking how to pronounce my name and stuff. So my name Cherylyn, the word, the syllable share, CHER, is like a, I will say like a nickname that my friends will call me, my close friends will call me Cher. But because I start using the word, the name Share in my brand, so people start to call me Share as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, but if you don't know, right, the word share in French means love.
Yeah. Yes.
So
More
it's like
Shelly.
love the music.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So love the music, So share the music, and then I also got explained in some parts of my website as well. Uh, share the music also sounds like SHARE, share the music. 恭喜干 right? Share.
Yeah, exactly. And all of that. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, this is just a disclaimer. I tried. I honestly tried. I thought, like right from the get-go, I saw her name. Cher the music. Like in Malaysia, people say teacher, like Cher, how do I do this? I was like, oh, okay, Cher. That makes sense. She's a music teacher. Oh, okay. And then it got fancy, like Cher. Oh, okay. I'm not fancy enough, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's my fancy explanation. It's part of my name. It's also French for love, and it sounds similar to the word share, SHARE.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's like the bomb ready lah. This explanation it cannot get me better. But at the same time, yes, there are people who are like you who think like it's the cher from teacher. So
Yeah.
but it's okay.
But believe me when I say I of all people respect and truly understand the power of a name, because it can make or break. Maybe not dramatically, but once it sticks. Because the minute you put Cherylyn music, people think, oh, you make music. Like, no. You discuss, you teach about music. So there's that distinction of share the music. So you are a musicologically interpreting the music. So you are diving in. I mean, because ladies and gentlemen, you know me. I'm not one to talk about people who create music. I would be out of a job if my friends, my circle of friends don't make music, right? I mean, music student at the heart of it, we play, we perform, we create. So, but there's just too many people that makes music and not a lot of us that actually explains like, why do you make this song? Oh, because it's nice. Okay. And then so I like your explanation of bridging the gap, because so from my side I see two ways about this. So one of my heroes on YouTube, his name is Marcus Brownlee, like he's MKBHD. I don't know if you're familiar with his content. He's a tech guy. He's not a music guy. He's a tech guy, and he said the easiest way and the best way to make YouTube videos is just to make what you want to see. And that's the idea, like people need to migrate to this online manner. You found that a lot of older generation, and even, let's be honest, even the newer generations, I find that some of them will be like, oh, I have this awesome phone, can you do this and this with it? I don't know, I just have this awesome phone. But so there's a missing gap, and so you're helping them out, but at the same time you're also fulfilling that side hustle idea. So on, ladies and gentlemen, if you are interested, MKBHD was the first one I mentioned, and the second one is it's from a TED Talks about side hustle. There's actually research about the positive benefits of psychological benefits of side hustling, and you fundamentally are helping people. And like you said, whether or not there is money, whether people send you bouquets of roses or I don't know, as payment, but you feel like you are side hustling and you are helping people out. And with your short videos, things that people can just Google, but because you put it out there, and then people be like, oh, I didn't think of naming your Google Chrome tabs, but actually you can, you know what I mean? Yeah.
I have a very funny side story about that Google Chrome tab that I didn't like put a lot of effort, frankly speaking. If you look at my Instagram reels, right, they don't do like super well. I mean, if I see it hit more than 1.5k views, I'm very happy with it. So every time I post something, I'm hoping that I will break the milestone at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So when that latest reel came out, I was so shocked because it went up 2 times. It more than 3,000 people views. I was like, yo, such a simple thing also can get so many views. But at the same time, I think it's the Instagram algorithm.
Yeah.
Yes, Instagram, I'm aware they are constantly updating the algorithm. So I think it's by a stroke of luck that that reel went viral like in my own profile lah. Because the really viral ones are like more than 10,000 views.
Yeah.
But for me, like a small time Instagrammer, wow, 3,000 views is like a lot already.
For something so basic.
Yeah, for something so basic, precisely. Yeah, I was so surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, to be fair, I don't know if I should tell you this. I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that. Okay. Coloring your sticky tab, your sticky notes, that one I know. And all those different kinds of but that naming your Google Chrome tabs, oh, that's interesting. See, but I actually sat down and thought about it. Like, I would never think that it's a possibility because not a lot of people know there's actually how to Google. There's actually a lot of videos on YouTube on how to Google short forms. Like, oh, I Googled this, I didn't get it. Maybe you're just Googling it the wrong way, So there's all sorts of manual shortcuts, especially that people just don't know. And until you bring it to them, it will actually help them expedite the process. It will help them shorten times. And it's very helpful. So it just makes me wonder, like, what's the uniqueness behind the information that you share? Like, how do you come up with, number one, how to share, and number, like, what to share, and number two, like, how do you share it?
I decide to I decide to share things that I find really useful, especially in my own work. Like currently I have a lot of responsibilities at the school I'm working at. I don't just teach, I actually am heading the music department as a coordinator. Okay, so my school, we have two campuses, so that means there's another colleague who is teaching music in the other campus. So I'm heading the music department in that sense. And then just recently, I'm also given the responsibility of coordinating co-curricular activities in the school.
Mhm.
So co-curricular, yeah, so other things that is nothing to do with academics. So strange enough, even during this pandemic, schools still need to organize co-curricular activities virtually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, in short, co-curricular, we the acronym is called CCA lah. So CCA. So I'm also coordinating CCA across two campuses with a team of teachers basically, other teacher leaders as well. So for me, it's like okay, my work is piling up. Writing down notes is not gonna cut it. Putting everything in Google Calendar is not gonna cut it anymore. I need something that is gonna help me be efficient, productive, and basically manage myself better, manage my time better. Because aside from my full-time work, I also teach freelance piano, and I also still want to maintain my brand, share the music. I want to maintain my YouTube channel. I want to maintain my Facebook page, my Instagram page.
I think you just need an
So-
assistant. Half your half your issues will be gone. Okay.
Yeah, I wish that I have one more, two more of myself to do all these things. But I don't want to give it up. Okay, in a way, I don't want to give it up, especially in this year. Yeah, because this year is the real test where I really teach full time, virtually, and I had to juggle all these things. And aside from schoolwork, piano teaching, and my brand, I also do other side hustles as well. I used to do Fiverr. Okay, prior to getting my full-time job, I used to freelance on Fiverr.com, creating piano tutorial videos, or sometimes I create short jingles and all kinds of things that is related to music, or even transcriptions I've done before. So I did Fiverr. I think I started in around 2016 or so, and I had a very good rating review also. I managed to keep a good pool of clients. But
Nice.
when I was doing my masters last year, and then the pandemic, and then I kind of like revamped my brand, so Fiverr got kind of sidelined. So I'm not active on there anymore, and Fiverr kind of went through some major changes last year. For some reason, their system was down for a very long time during the pandemic, so it affected everybody's, all the sellers'
Connectivity with
gigs.
yeah.
The connectivity with their clients. So for that reason, I was affected as well. But those clients who really like my quality of work, especially returning clients, by hook or crook, they managed to find me on Google. So they connected with me privately. So I have like one or two that are like that. But it's not a consistent thing lah. When they have some projects for me to do, then I'll try to do. So I have a lot of these side hustles going on. And you were talking about coming back to the question just now, like why, what I
How
share
do
and
you
all that,
decide?
right?
Yeah.
How do I decide? So my content is mainly geared towards music education, and as much as possible, I gear it towards music education tech, because that is my niche area. I use technology a lot in my lessons, even way before the pandemic, because the first school that I taught at, they started using the iPad in the classroom, flipped classroom. Maybe you are familiar with it, this style of teaching, flipped
No.
classroom. So basically, every student should have their own iOS device, and the teacher will give I would say, supplement work that they can do at home that will also incorporate the device, maybe through apps, some projects they will do on the app.
Yeah.
So they don't use exercise books anymore, they use apps and all these tech tools in their iOS devices. So I started using a lot of tech from that year. It was around 2014, around there. So, and I like all these tech things, seriously, because I did my minor in music tech anyway for my undergrad.
Fantastic.
I have a minor in music tech,
Oh.
So things like audio interface lah, condenser mic lah, all these digital audio workstation, all this I know. So the idea of incorporating iOS in classroom, so I can talk about GarageBand. So I'm happy to teach the students how to record music, how they can use GarageBand, iMovies to do all that.
Worst comes to worst, just airdrop. Everyone just like, okay, just receive this, and that's the Berlin Philharmonic Orchestra style. Just like come up and just like, okay.
So I never stopped using tech lah, in that sense. Even when I moved on to my second school, I was also quite lucky. Even the second school I worked for, they gave me a iMac at work.
Wow.
So the iMac is like in my music room. Of course I cannot bring home, but I don't mind to OT. I don't mind to stay overtime just so that I can play around with the iMac, because first time I got iMac. So I bring all my equipment, my audio interface, my microphone, just gasak the whole thing lah.
Slap up that Logic Pro, and then just like with that Final Cut.
Logic Pro, I never get to play with Logic Pro and all that, just GarageBand mostly. Because I wanted to see how I can max out. So I did a lot of recordings and things like that, so that I can use for school concerts.
Yeah.
So that's nice. But now that I'm in this current school, we don't have this kind of technology. So, and I'm personally working on the Windows PC. So it's kind of like a different operating system, but I know how to find my way around it lah. I like to know the alternatives. So like when it comes to having a DAW like GarageBand, of course PC don't have GarageBand, but with my Steinberg audio interface, it already comes bundled with the Cubase,
right?
So it comes bundled with that, so okay lah, I just explore Cubase. Video editing, I try to find some open source software like Caden Live, because I bought this new laptop for my masters. So I want to make sure that I don't go and download all the illegal softwares and then
Right.
get
Yeah.
pirate, and then you know you don't want to mess up your computer when you're doing your thesis lah.
Yeah, that's true.
That's how I feel. Plus my old laptop was also like half dead already, so it's time to get a new equipment. So yeah, I invest quite a lot in softwares that I really need to use, like Sibelius. I use Sibelius a lot. But because there are some teachers who don't want to invest in Sibelius, so I also explored MuseScore.
Music.
So MuseScore is a free music notation software. What other things? Yeah, I also do screen recording and all that because I need to create video tutorials. So coming back to what I said I deviated so much. So whatever I use in my lessons, whether for teaching or for the students' end, what software they should use, I feel like it's good to share because most of the time the things I share are free. They are all available for free. Especially in my recent content, I share a lot about Google education apps.
Yeah.
How you can use all those things. But actually, if you check out my content last year, I did a lot of Facebook Live last year on other music education related tools. Like, yeah, I did one live before on MuseScore. And MuseScore, a lot of people misunderstand it. Some people thought that it's a music sheet library. Some people don't even know that it actually has a software. So MuseScore.com and MuseScore.org are two different things.
Yeah.
ORG and COM.
Yeah.
So one is promoting the free software, the open source software, and the other one is promoting the music sheet library. It's also user content, but at the same time there are also premium user content, so that is why they have a subscription service, so that if you want access to those I would say better music sheets then you pay for the subscription. So I have to spend a lot of time like helping the teachers understand that these two are two different things. You cannot just, some of the scores you cannot download for a reason.
Yeah.
You have to pay subscription.
But it's also the fact that you have to go through Sibelius, MuseScore, well, there were like other softwares I can't think on the top of my head. But you have to go through them and then tell people, okay, this is the best one, because nobody is gonna like try one by one. Not everybody has the time, energy is one thing, but it's also the inclination, like for yeah.
You'll be surprised at how people can be quite lazy sometimes. That's one of the things that I learned last year, when I was helping a lot, when I had time to help a lot of people. And then I introduced all these softwares, the websites, even mobile apps, tablet apps as well. Like which apps to teach sight reading, which apps to teach rhythm or website. All those things I shared last year. And it was all shared for free during those Facebook Live. Then it came to the point where I felt like, are people really paying attention? Because sometimes they are just really waiting for that free ticket.
Yeah.
So I also felt at times a bit annoyed because I already put out the information there, but people don't take time to actually go through it, and then they ask me the same questions which I already addressed earlier. So yeah, I don't know, this whole virtual thing, I have a love-hate relationship with it in some sense. So from there, when I did all those live sessions, I started doing those online workshops because I felt like, gosh, I have all this information, people not taking me seriously. Maybe I should start charging people, for it. And that's what happened. I started, charging people for online workshops. I did a workshop on how to use MuseScore, how to create music sheets, how to use it to create their own lesson material. What other things? I also taught them like websites that they can use in their online classes, like how to use this website on Zoom, how to share screen, things like that. The nitty-gritty things. So I find that sometimes I introduce so much of these things, right? People don't even get the basics right also.
Yeah.
Even things like sharing screen, they didn't know like, oh, if I want to share the audio, I had to, you know, check the box to share audio and things like that. So I even have to do that as well. Yeah, but at the same time, there's also people who want to do really sophisticated stuff, like those piano tutorials that we see on YouTube, where you can see the MIDI visualizer and then you can see the person playing.
Oh, you're talking about
You
those,
also,
those light out ones from coming from the top. Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes. I was very surprised. Teachers, there are teachers who want to learn this, but for me, it's like why? As a teacher,
Yeah.
I question it. Why? You know, I want to know why you want to do this. And then I find that there are I mean there are teachers who teach by rote, sorry. So they feel like this video will solve all the problem. They just record it and stuff like that. But they also don't realize that you need a lot of um, equipment for that as well. And a lot of times they want all these things for free. Keyword is free.
If not free, I would think it's cheap and fast.
Yes. Even if it's free, right? It's a very long process to get it done also.
Yeah. You can. There's always DIY. DIY is
Yes.
one way or another, but yeah, are you up to it?
Yeah. So yeah, most of the time it's like I feel they're not up to it because there are certain things they don't get right, and then they want to learn something so complex. So in a not so nice way, in a way I discourage them from doing that. Yeah. And then I mean from the feedback that I get lah, I seem to feel that people just want to find an easy way out. They just want all the answers.
Yeah.
Actually, they don't have to pay me for the answers. They can just Google it themselves and do all the research. But they are not willing to put their time into it because on one end they are thinking like, okay, how am I going to maintain my business? How am I going to retain my student enrollment or get more students during this time? So that was a problem that I couldn't solve because for me, what I emphasize to them is you need to upskill. You need to upskill yourself in the right way so that when you have this skill, you can do more things, you can promote yourself in that way. So I don't feel like if I give you or tell you where is free or how to do it and you don't, how to say, take it seriously on the learning part, because I think tech, right, it can be easy and can be hard at the same time. So the attitude, I'm talking about attitude now.
Yeah, and it's true because I'm just thinking it's also a sign of could it be let me turn it around and ask, could it possibly be a sign of desperation whereby like I need I won't call it a get rich quick scheme, but it's a quicker way. They do one quick, and does it actually reflect the industry? Like it specifically, strictly, we're talking about music. I'm not talking about music creation, making songs or whatever, music education. Does it I would think that it might, one way or another, represent the holistic nature of the music industry in Malaysia, at least, whereby you have less inclinations due to less incentives, and like you said, skills, like you can literally just Google skill improve and then you get Skillshare. So ladies and gentlemen, for those who don't know, and I hope you've been keeping notes. Yeah, she's been sharing a lot. This is valuable information right here. And another one to add on is Skillshare.com. You can sign up. You can learn about all these different things. How to make videos, how to make YouTube video, how to make content, it's all there. Just depends on you want to invest financially, especially. But if not, there's all sorts of ways around it. But yeah, like you said, like it could be because the return. I'm not defending them and besmirching you. I'm just wondering, like, it could be because the return that they see, like if they put in a lot of effort, and then all they get is a, oh, that's nice. So maybe they get disheartened. So don't you think so?
I think I mean it's the same case like solving or curing COVID. People are looking for a silver bullet. Okay, people are looking for a silver bullet. Like even now, there's so much debate about vaccines. Which one is more efficient, or ivermectin, does it work and things like that. So it's a similar situation in our Malaysian music education industry, especially at the beginning of the pandemic. Okay, there was a lot of people like looking for that one method that will solve all their problems, but in reality, that's not the case. There is no silver bullet unless you're willing to pay for it, lah.
Yeah.
Right, and that also, there are so many ways to go about it. There's so many ways. Like just talk about the video conferencing platform. People ask me, is Zoom better? Is Google Meets better? WebEx? Or can I just teach through WhatsApp video? Things like that. So for me, it's like, okay, first and foremost, how old is your PC? Do you have a webcam? How old is your phone? Is your smartphone the latest? So there are so many.
You can't expect to like share a lot of things, but you have
Correct.
Intel like 5 generations ago. Like,
there's too many variables. Too many variables.
yeah.
So I cannot give like a straight answer also.
Yeah.
Like before I even answer them, I will ask them, okay, so what PC you have? Are you using Windows? Are you using Mac?
And some of them would feel even like if it's a personal attack, like, oh, why does that matter? You know what I mean? Like I just
Precisely. So it's a very tricky thing that I dealt with last year, and I still continue to deal with it now, because so from last year, like I did all those workshops, and towards the end of the last year, I started creating my own online community of teachers. It's like a membership thing that I have going on. So it's like a teacher development community, but it's all online. So think like Skillshare. I have like my own platform for Skillshare in that sense. I recorded a whole bunch of tutorial videos, which are based on different topics and concepts. So like, okay, which website to use for note reading, which website to use for teaching rhythm, which website to use for teaching chords, harmony, lesson feedback system, things like that. So I created this whole bunch of videos. I upload it to this place, and then the teachers just pay a one-time off membership to access to all those tutorials, because those tutorials are really, really short. They are less than 5 minutes most of the time. So it will give them a quick run through of how to use that particular website or app, and things like that. So why am I mentioning this? Suddenly lost my train of thought. Yeah, so I created that so that the teachers can just refer to it anytime. I don't have to answer their questions repeatedly. Like, let's say they want to know something, then I just like, okay, I give you this link, so this is the answer. I've already created the video for that. You have already paid for it, and at the same time, every now and then I also do a live workshop for these members. So I felt like, okay, maybe they are interested to learn about how to use Google Slides for music lessons. I did a workshop on creating games on Google Slides. So there will be like drag and drop activities, or jigsaw puzzles, or mission type of games, things like that. So some of them find it very interesting, and they even use it to conduct virtual music camps for their music centers. Some, they use it for their own personal lessons. Like you can even use Google Slides to create flashcards. So I did workshop on that. Just for one particular tool, they can do so many things. So once I did that workshop, I recorded the video and I upload it to my platform. So anytime they want to revise or a new member joins in, they can just access it.
Yep.
So I find that makes more sense than me keep organizing workshops, and then I get so burnt out. Yeah, I suffer a huge burnout sometime last year. I felt like, what am I doing? you know but all this didn't happen, like it's not something that I decided like, okay, I'm going to do this, because when I promoted myself sharing those content around May, June, there are also industry players that notice me, okay, because I go and share those content in Facebook groups, okay, local music teacher Facebook groups, and there are so many. So it attracted the attention of certain people. So they actually invited me to be part of their online video learning website in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
So you can either offer live workshops, or you can offer your video tutorials, recorded video tutorials. They have that platform. Maybe you've heard of this website called Musicpreneur.
It sounds familiar. It sounds very familiar.
Yeah. So it's local. Someone came up with it. So they invited me onto the platform to be one of their pioneer, group of trainers in that sense. Yeah. So they, in a way, they also got help lah, some marketing side and stuff like that. But personally, I felt it kind of died off over time. I'm not sure why. But it kind of died. So I hope nobody hears this. So but then
Just keep it between
felt
us,
like,
yeah.
yeah, it's between us, okay. It's my view lah, huh? Maybe people don't agree with me.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I felt like I didn't have to go like that big scale, because I don't rely on this for my income. Yeah. So when you talk about what's the difference of last year and this year, last year I experimented a lot. I thought that I could do all this as my full time. I did think of not going back into teaching in school. But after I experienced the burnout, I realized that I'm not cut out for that kind of life, because I'm quite a regimented person. Like, I like routines.
Mm-hmm.
And freelance life, no routine. School life, yes, there is a routine. So I feel like I can manage myself better with a routine, and I think that is why I enjoy working in school. Because there are some people who don't like working in school, they prefer more freedom. So in the last few months, I took it upon myself to explore Instagram marketing. So in some sense, if when I say this, right, it may makes more sense now what I'm doing on Instagram.
Yeah.
I've been like researching and experimenting a lot, and see how people engage with my content. Yeah, and I also want to build a community lah, because I've been following a lot of these American Western music teachers on Instagram, a lot of popular ones you can find, and for me it's like, how they make it big on Instagram? How is it that they can get people to network with them, connect with them, and all these people, right, they are always invited for some kind of conference, like music teacher conference or piano teacher conference, happening overseas, and also those big conference like ISME, and those kind of things lah. So for me, it's like, I don't see an Asian representative. I find it very hard to find someone who is doing similar to that, or even doing anything like what I'm doing. Very hard in the music education tech sphere.
Yeah.
So I try to connect with a lot of like Malaysian centers on Instagram, music centers, or freelance music teachers, Singaporean teachers also. Try to connect with them and see what they actually do in their profiles, and I find that across the board they are all more or less doing the same thing, which is promoting their services. So I mean, Instagram primarily is a social media platform, and they are not really socializing with their profile. So I find it so hard to engage with them. Like, how? I don't know how. So I'm trying to do what I want to see. Like what you mentioned earlier, right?
Yeah.
We churn out content that we want to see, right? So that's what I'm doing with my account. I'm trying to churn out content that I want to see, and hopefully, more people will pick up on that and try to share, whatever they know about music education. And yeah, then I get, and because of what I've been doing on Instagram, I get connected with you. In the first place, I got connected with you eventually. And then I got connected with. Recently I had some inquiries coming from Singapore as well. Somebody want to collaborate with me. You might see something about that in coming months or weeks. I don't know, because I'm so busy. I'm trying to, keep track of the
Juggle.
things that I want to do, and
Yeah.
things that people want to do with me. Yeah. So now my goal, right? My goal has shifted quite a bit from last year to this year. I'm still sharing the things that I want to share, like how to use tech in music class. But at the same time, I want to build a community of music teachers locally and in the Southeast Asian region. Because even the Asian teachers that I can find in Western countries like America, for example, the topics that they always talk a lot about in their Instagram has a lot to do with politics, racism, gender. Yeah, because in America, these are very sensitive, very big things.
Yeah.
So there's like a very big movement going on there. And I understand these topics are very important to discuss with our students as well. But I feel that in our music education sphere here, the industry here, we haven't reached that level of maturity yet.
Yeah. I was
There's-
thinking the same thing.
There's a lot of things that we haven't addressed yet. There's a lot of things we haven't addressed yet. Even the industry itself. Why is Malaysian education so split up? And it's also reflected in the music education industry. Even in the music education industry, there are groups of people that, there are many organizations. Actually, right, I find that we have a lot of organizations affiliated to music education.
Yeah.
Right? We have the MAMI.
Mummy, yes.
Yes, MAMI is one. And then because of the pandemic, there's another Persatuan that came out last year, which was is set up for music center owners and music teachers in Malaysia.
Oh.
Somebody actually registered Persatuan just for the music center owners and music teachers, so that they can have talks with MITI.
Right.
So there's this Persatuan going on, and ever since they started having that, they also have conferences and webinars in the past 1 year, which I think is a good thing also. And then the other side of our music education I see is that music education that is taught in government schools, music education that is taught in private and international schools, music that is taught in music centers and academies.
There's a lot of segregations. There are a lot of branches.
Yes,
There are a lot of unnecessary branches. You can have branches. It's fine. You want to stick to your own regime. But there are some unnecessary ones, like sub branches. Like, oh no, you can
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So I feel like how, because I came from in a way I was born out of a local schooling system. Okay, I studied in government school even up until university. I also studied in local U, but at the same time I had private music education. Then I started to teach it in international schools, and I also teach privately. So I have friends in different places. I have friends who are in working in government schools. I have friends who are teaching freelance, friends who are teaching in schools, private as well. So there is no place. I feel there is no place that we can meet in the middle. So, and I don't know where to start put it this way. And I think it's because of this I don't register myself in those organizations that I mentioned just now. Like, I know about them, I know what they're doing, but I never once really take part in what they're doing, because I feel like the mission or the vision is not what I wish to see in Malaysia. I wish to see a more united front lah.
Yeah,
Put it
yeah,
this way. Because in other countries, right, they actually have proper organizations for music teachers, and
yeah.
they have to have licenses, right? Teachers themselves have to get licenses to be called music teacher or music educator, whatever they
Mm.
call it.
Yeah, it's that disunity that sometimes put people off, and um, yeah, sometimes that message. The end of the day, the goal is simply to teach that C major is CEG. You know, they always forget that. They're always trying to find ways like, oh, teaching this, teaching that, getting these different, like you said, different goals, different objectives. Like, but they just forget that actually that unity rather than the disunity, the separation, that segregation. I guess that kind of makes you unique. That's your uniqueness. You are quite frankly like the avatar, the bridge between multiple worlds. Just so that, and it's
I
very
hope.
interesting. And it's very encouraging to actually watch your what you do, your crafts, because not a lot of people can actually take a step back and then another step back to see the bigger picture. And it's very encouraging. So sorry, ladies and gentlemen, if that did sound a little bit ranting. I'm happy that you are able to vent a bit. So now that we've reached this point, right, let me just ask you an honest question. You've been teaching before this, like before COVID, online with all them iPad. And please let me know if they still want new students. And I would love me an iPad with an M1 chip in it. Anyways, uh, do you think that after this COVID, after we go back to normal in 2030 or whenever, uh, this online teaching can still continue? Or would let me change that. Would you prefer a hybrid manner? Whatever that you can teach online. I mean, obviously, music theory, music history, you can teach online. But things like choir or co-curriculum, you would want to teach physically in person, right? Yeah. Or would you just prefer like everything just go back? Yeah.
I mean, it will be best if we can just go back to normal.
Mhm.
But if there's any truth in what the scientists and medical people are telling us, pandemics will still happen. So I think it's our job to be prepared. We had to be prepared. And even in the last 1.5 years, technology have moved so fast. It's so fast that sometimes I think we are not catching up fast enough.
Mhm.
And I think with music, yeah, theory, yes, we can teach online, no problem. But I think the biggest problem is the practical part, teaching the skill. Then again, I heard of success stories as well. There are success stories, but I think the majority are still finding very very hard to teach
Yeah.
the practical side of music. Even in the last week, I attended a few webinars organized by UITM Aswara. So I listened to what these lecturers have to say. Or they even invited government school teacher to talk. Even one private lecturer from one uni as well. I'll talk about this whole situation. I think the common theme here is upskilling ourselves.
Yeah.
We have to be very open to learning new things, because the trend that I see is that those who cannot keep up, they are already falling behind, or they have already left the industry completely. They have moved on to something else that they think is more viable and easier to survive with. Hopefully, when things are better, they will come back, because these people have all the knowledge and skill that they accumulated for so many years. But I think online teaching will not stop, virus or no virus, because it has opened up a new way of, I would say, teaching. That's one, and also a new way of conducting business also,
Yeah.
from the business side of things. Because at the end of the day, right, especially for music graduates in Malaysia, most of the time they end up teaching freelance. So I think they stand to benefit by learning more tech, whether for teaching or learning, and even business as well, right? They have to learn how to do digital marketing. Probably I didn't mention this just now. At the last year I also took up this free course by Google. They actually have this called Google Digital Garage. It's all about learning, and the courses are all free. So they have this course called Fundamentals of Digital Marketing, something like that. So once you complete the course, you can get a digital certificate from Google, and it's free. So I realized that quite a lot of things that I know already. So I just brush up, some few things that I learned, like what is landing page,
Yeah.
right? I was talking about this to a potential collaborator, and she's like, "Oh, what's a landing page?" They have a website, but they don't have a proper landing page for their Instagram bio link.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that I feel, whether you're in fact, doesn't matter who you are, whatever field, I think it's our job now to learn about digital marketing, video editing. Cannot run away from it.
Yeah.
Video editing,
And
uh,
audio editing, like
yeah,
tangentially, yeah.
video, audio editing, digital marketing. Yeah, and whatever skills that you already have, but learn how to transfer it digitally.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think we can run away from that. So I think digital is still gonna be part of the future. If if not right, I think AR and VR is going to come up soon also.
Yeah.
Eventually, I think there will come a point where we can just wear goggles and see how our teacher play the piano, through the goggles.
I
There
think we
are
should have a separate episode about the Google glasses and how I'll just be like sitting in my room, like people asking me, "What are you doing?" I'm just watching Budokan performances and Esplanade, like in my room.
yeah,
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 and with
seriously.
earbuds
So
or like headphones. Yeah,
yeah, I think that's gonna be a very very big part of our future, and it's only a matter of time that they make it more available, more affordable, and 5G.
yeah.
We need 5G for all this to work. In fact, if we have 5G now, I think online teaching will be better because our internet line still sucks.
I mean, there's a whole like storyline, discussion behind that topic. But yeah, substantially, it's very interesting when you push when you started going into that business mindset, that digital mindset, that marketing mindset, because the one word that was floating around my mind, as we're coming to a close for this talk, is investment. I personally feel like it's true what you say, like some people leave because they can't, everybody's going through a different mental journey throughout this pandemic, so maybe they can't stand the not being with a student to teach you where is a C4, a middle C, a C3, a snare or whatever. So they can't take it, and then they'll plan to come back to it. Sure, if you can, go ahead. But I feel like all these things, like you said, all this content creation, all that you've picked up, all that you've learned, all that you have done and tried and messed up, it the magic word I think in this talk is just investment. What you put in, you get out. And what you put in, you will get out later. Like nobody's just gonna no. Okay, it's quite a difficult discussion to have, but no music student that I know, no music graduate at least that I know, will just I just had fun in a digital marketing class, learning about search engine
SEO.
optimization. Yeah, learning about landing pages.
Yeah, yeah. So I think right, all this is it should become part of our general knowledge already because the world is getting increasingly digital. Cannot run away from all this, especially if you want to put yourself out there, right? I think the great challenge of digital is putting ourselves out there. So we need to know how it works, And that's why I encourage the listeners, whoever's listening, please go and check out the Google Digital Garage, because there's a lot of things that we heard of, know of, but maybe not quite. So it's very helpful. It's very basic stuff, very, very basic stuff, and it gives you a clearer picture, I would say. And it will be a good start before you even go to websites like Skillshare or Udemy,
Coursera.
Futura, Coursera, So yeah, there are a lot of platforms that are offering courses for free. So you just have to Google for it and find out much.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that's our talk for today. If you are interested in everything Ms. Cherylyn just shared with us, you can check out the links in the description of this video if you're on YouTube, or of this podcast if you're on Spotify or on Google Podcasts. The links are all there. And as usual, if you do have a question for us about any of the topics that we're talking about, or the online content creation, music education, even about her, digital drums at the back, if you are interested, you can just send us an email and we'll be happy to discuss in a future episode, possibly, or respond to you directly. And with that, we're going to call it a day. We thank you so much for listening to this episode. We hope you take care and stay safe. Thank you so much.